We are about to talk to Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat of the state of Connecticut. Of course, Connecticut was the home of Sandy Hook Elementary. Senator, what did you tell your constituents after Sandy Hook, the incident that made so many Americans say, well, we must see some change after this, and nothing changed?
What I told my constituents, Brian, is that we would change the law, that we would keep faith with those loved ones who lost 20 beautiful children, sixth grade educators. And the president also, in my meeting with him yesterday, was obviously deeply moved and affected by his contact with those tremendously courageous and strong individuals. But these measures, absolutely right, Pete Williams is right, are about enforcing existing law more effectively, not changing the law. And that still must be done because the president's measures are only a partial solution. More people will be required to get licenses, more background checks will take place, but the background check still will not cover all of those sales that they must do, and so there's still a need for legislation. And I will tell my constituents that I'm going to continue working and fighting to make America safer by changing those laws.
Senator, why is it, do you think, that gun sales usually spike after every presidential speech on this topic?
There may be a fear that guns will be taken away. That fear is totally irrational and unfounded because I deeply respect the Second Amendment. It's the law of the land. None of the president's measures and none of the proposed legislative changes would take away any guns. I think it is an irrational and unfounded fear that maybe sales will be restricted. There's nothing in the president's measures that will restrict sales to law-abiding people. That is in the Second Amendment. And the courts, by the way, Brian, have repeatedly upheld that certain categories of people can be prohibited from buying guns. Criminals, drug addicts, domestic abusers, and certain categories of gun sellers can be required to be licensed and do background checks. And that's what the president's doing here. Our opponents have told us repeatedly, why not just enforce existing laws more effectively? That is exactly what the president's doing here. So I would predict, with some degree of confidence as a former federal prosecutor and state attorney general, that challenges to this action will be rejected by the courts.
From the Democratic side of the aisle, Senator Richard Blumenthal, state of Connecticut. Thank you very much, Senator.